All right, no drop frames. All right. Hey, Michael, you have the right mic selected, right? Just want to double check.
For Zencaster?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool.
I'm like 90% sure. Yep, that'll be good. And
All right, you guys ready? Blake.
Alexa, stop.
All right, cool.
I'm ready.
Um, so this is what's gonna happen for everyone that's chilling with us already. Thanks for your patience. I know a few of you have contacted me about coming on to the show to ask some questions. So I'll basically tell you how to do it, but if you can, let us know in chat if you want to talk, so that we could just have a written record of it easily that we can look at while the show goes on, and hopefully we'll get to your question and then bring you on. What we'll do is we'll unmute you, and then you'll have to mute yourself after we're done. Otherwise, you'll be permanently muted if we have to mute you. So
check
we'll,
bitrate. I have it set to 44.1. Thank you for telling me.
So where do I need to do that with the bitrate thing?
no, he's talking to me about the stream.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh God.
Okay, I think it was a mill that was telling me to make
Yeah,
sure that we all have the same
that's a
bitrate.
recording rate or something. I don't know
But
what it is. All right, recording, and then
Yeah.
cool. All right, ready to go, guys?
Land of the ice and snow.
We are
Okay.
also on Twitch as well. If you guys want to join us there, I'll be looking at Twitch chat and Discord chat. Make sure if you are listening to us, we are going to be looking at the live podcast chat room, not the general chat. So make sure you're in there as well. All right, ready to go, guys?
Boof. Ready to do.
3, 2. Hey guys, welcome to episode 184 of the League of Legends Anonymous podcast. I'm your host Sam, back from the grave, aka Just Casual, and I have with me Blake, aka Wise Papa Smurf.
What's up, dude? Nice to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. And we got
I'm glad
Michael. Oh yeah.
Hold on.
Hey.
Glad that vote to kick you off the podcast didn't stick.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? No. And then I came back. No. Hopefully everyone enjoyed their Easter and April Fools. I thought it was a clever message and tweet that I put onto our Discord and stuff about April Fools. I think I got a few people.
The part that you put about me being a one-man show again fucking got me. I have to admit that you definitely got me with that.
I'm happy to hear that. So, anyway, today we have a listener call-in episode. If you guys aren't aware, well, we've been trying to do it for like 3 weeks, but you should follow our social media, like our Facebook, and especially our Facebook group. If you're not a part of that, it's different from our page, but we post like announcements to our like closest community that's following us there, and we're like, hey, we want to do listener call-in episodes, so people are going to join us today. We're going to unmute them in the Discord channel and just bring people on. So if you guys want to talk, let us know either in the Discord, the live podcast chat room, or the Twitch chat, either or. But we're going to start with I think I see Runil Waslib first. I don't know if I'm saying that right. So, Runil, if you are ready, let us know in chat, and then we will unmute you. Yeah, he's typing. All right, we're going to unmute you, buddy. And bam. Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
how's it going?
Pretty good.
Awesome.
You said it right. It's Runil Waslib.
Yeah, I think I said it really, really poorly.
Hey, wait a minute. Just as a matter of thought,
Yep.
if we're having people on and we're on Zencaster,
That's a good question.
It's all good. Blake, we've done this like 5 times
well, yeah, I'm
before.
just saying, are we going to just rip the audio off the stream? Is that the gameplay?
I'm recording it right now.
All right, you're the man.
At least
Okay.
I hope I am. I'm using OBS, Streamlabs OBS for the first time, so hopefully I'm recording it. And if not,
Yeah,
we'll just
what
rip
could
the
go
Twitch.
wrong?
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So
Hopefully you won't just be talking to nobody in the episode.
yeah, we're just gonna fake the question and like have Wormlax actually pretend like they're all of our guests. It'll be great. But yeah, what's your question, buddy?
All right. So I wanted to talk about something that I struggle with probably more than I should as a gold level support main and ADC secondary.
Depression.
And this, aside from that,
Ponder Sea Lion Helpline if you need
Uh,
help.
I want to talk about target selection in the bot lane, like in 2v2 fights.
Okay.
So, like, when to know which person to focus, when to focus the ADC, when to focus the support, etc.
All right. That's a really broad question, and I'll do my general answer,
Okay.
and then I'll focus on like more scenario based things, right?
Okay.
So, general answer is you should always focus the same target, regardless
Right.
of what that target is, whether it's
Mhm.
the support or the ADC, and whether that's the right call or the wrong call. You should generally always focus the same target, because
Right.
if you split DPS, you're going to lose, right?
Yeah.
So that's the number one answer. And I noticed I didn't say the general answer is always target the ADC, because that's not true.
Right. Yeah.
Can I give like Korean advice right here, Blake?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think the most general thing you can say is like kill whoever you can kill or kill whoever is going to kill you,
Okay.
right? But then breaking that down further, I think that's what Blake is going to go into.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to put a former hero of mine on blast real quick. So I was playing solo queue last week, and there's a
God.
video of it.
Ooh.
I was playing with
I know what's about to
Geronimo.
happen.
Yeah, I was playing with Geronimo, and we were playing Lucian Thresh into Tom Kinch and Kaisa,
Kaisa. Yeah.
right? And so traditional wisdom would be you have to either kill or go all in on whoever you go all in on level 1, right? Because Tom Kinch is going to have lick and Kaisa is going to have damage, like missiles, right? At level 2, you can no longer go all in on Kaisa because Tom Kinch will eat her,
Right. Yeah.
right? So she's off the table, right? So you have
Yeah.
to go all in on Tom Kinch. At level 3, you can never go all in on Tom Kinch because he has gray health. Well, not never, but it would have to be a hell of a thing,
Right.
right? So basically, if we're going to make a move, we have to make a move before 3, and with each additional level, we lose options, right?
hmm
So right as we hit level 2, Tom Kinch was just way out of position. So I flayed him, I hooked him, I ignited him, and Geronimo, who's a master tier ADC, went all in on Kaisa. Both of them end up with 40% health, and then they kill both of us.
Yeah.
And his thing was, why didn't you flash and flay and hook Kaisa first? I didn't do that because Tom Kinch was an available target, and I didn't have to burn summoners to kill him.
Right.
Right.
I was in this game and I watched the VOD on Geronimo's stream with Blake afterwards, and I don't play bot lane, but even I was like, what the hell are you doing, Geronimo? That's just wrong. Like, basically, he wanted to get 2 kills. He wanted to kill Kaisa and Tom Kench, but instead of just taking the Tom Kench kill that was free, like, they could have 100% killed Tom Kench, but he wanted to kill Tom Kench and Kaisa. So he went on Kaisa before he finished the Tom Kench, and instead of getting 1 kill or 2 kills, they both died because of bad target selection.
Right.
Exactly, because of bad target selection.
So, I mean, keep in mind, this is not something that you're going to just have somebody who just knows automatically at any elo,
Mhm.
right? Like, this does not, it's not like a gold problem or a silver problem or a bronze problem. Geronimo's a fucking master tier player.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Master tier douchebag, too.
Dear God.
okay, I will say, based on how the rest of the game played out, yeah, that's true. Like, that was pretty. I mean, he like went crazy, but regardless, yeah, that shocked me because that was a guy who I used to when I was like a silver ADC, and I was trying to learn. That's one of the guys whose stream that I plugged into to like learn the game, and then I was pretty happy to play with him until that, and then now I'm not ever really going to be happy to do that again. But regardless, target selection is something really hard. And I mean, the first is target of opportunity, and the second is consider what's going to happen when you all in. Like, plan out your engagements, which you should do before you ever walk into lane,
Mhm.
right? Like, you should go, okay, example, they have a Tahm Kench. So if I hook their ADC, Tahm Kench is going to eat the ADC. The best case scenario is I then flay Tahm Kench, he spits out the ADC, and then we have to go all in on Tahm Kench. Can we do that before, level 3? And if so, then that's okay. If not, then at 3 it's all bust, right? I'm just countered, right? It's gonna have, not to say that you have to like give up and be like, well, I'm countered, can't do anything, but you need to like plan out the periods at which you're going to be effective.
Yeah.
Right.
There's an example on that one where like I think I bring this up every now and then, but Krepa was playing Leona into a Morgana, and he's like, oh, he's totally countered. And then what he would do is he'd go on the Morgana, she'd black shield herself, and then Krepo playing Leona would attack the AD carry, and everyone would focus the AD carry. It's like, oh my gosh, he figured out how to like counter the counter. It's like you just need to know what's gonna happen, and then you play at that disadvantage with that mindset of how do I actually outplay it, or how do I just like find the favorable trade. Like maybe her black shield is down, then you go on the Morgana. You bait it out first, and it's kind of like maybe like you're playing chess 2 moves ahead of them rather than like just at the moment. So yeah, what Blake's saying is really, really true. Just like you have to know what you're gonna do, and you don't just necessarily react to whatever situation happens, because then it's about who's better at reacting or who's more experienced rather than who's like more prepared, which you have full control on how prepared you are going into a matchup or into a game.
Yeah.
I think one kind of it's always dangerous to make these rule of thumb, but I think this works maybe 90% of the time. If they have a squishy mage support, most likely they're doing the most damage early. Most likely, right? If you have a tanky support, the only time you go all in on the tank support is when maybe their AD carry is behind them too far where they can't follow up on the damage right away. I would say those are maybe 2 good rule of thumbs.
Otherwise, here's one. Here's a rule of thumb. Always kill Soraka.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yep.
Always kill Soraka, always kill Sona, always kill Nami, etc. Any of those champions, they don't really have any way to defend themselves. So
well, and like particularly Soraka, because if you go in on the ADC and Soraka's there,
right? Yeah, you
she
can't
can
kill the
heal
ADC.
every second and a half.
Yeah.
So you got to do something about that, and there you go.
Yeah.
And here's another thing, because most of you guys are probably playing in bronze to gold elo bracket. Sometimes, a lot of times, your lane partner is going to attack the wrong target, and sometimes it can be better to attack the wrong target with them than to attack the right target without them. So like if you're playing against a Soraka Caitlyn lane and your Thresh hooks the Caitlyn and then just starts only fighting the Caitlyn and ignores the Soraka, at that point it's just going to be best to just try to burst the Caitlyn down before she can get too much healing. You can't force them to understand target selection. It's a concept that takes a long time to learn. So you just have to play. Sometimes you have to play suboptimally, but as long as you understand what the optimal play actually was, then you're okay. It won't actually affect your play.
Right. So here's another one. And this is not exactly on point to what you're saying, but it's like right in the neighborhood. So I feel like we should cover it. A lot of the time, you can announce your target to your partner by using Ignite early.
Right.
And that also will prevents the summoner spell heal, like cuts that in half. And it's because you're doing an all-in that becomes apparent. So, right, when you do target selection, you need to decide, is this a harassment target or is this an all-in? And decide it early and fully commit if it's an all-in. If it's not, don't fully commit.
Also,
yeah, I mean something I like to. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I like to. If I'm playing support and I'm trying to like hook someone or whatever, I'll ping them usually to let my lane partner know like, hey, we're trying to kill this person.
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, anyway, because like what we've been talking about is there's a lot of miscommunication that can happen. So you're probably not on voice comms unless you're dual queuing with your fellow bot laner. Pinging is like pretty much the only way, because if you type, it's always risky because one, typing takes a lot of time and effort. Two, they could misunderstand what you're trying to say in your intent and get upset, or you could start an argument or become a distraction. So pinging, at least like that's clear, and maybe they don't listen to it, but at least you tried. And sometimes it's gonna work, and sometimes it doesn't hurt. Like it's like a win or nothing situation. I don't know what that's called. A win or neutral.
High risk, low reward. Or no, low
Other way around.
risk,
Low
high
risk,
reward.
high
Low
reward.
risk,
Yeah.
high reward. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
meant.
There you go. Yeah. Anything else you got for us with that?
So I guess just to extend on this a bit, so we've been talking a lot about like when we're engaging. So what about sort of the flip side of like we're engaged on? So like I don't know, their Nami lands a bubble or something, and she's more like forward than the ADC, but the ADC is putting out a lot more damage than she is.
Then you go on the ADC anyway
Yeah.
in that scenario, because here's the thing: once Nami's landed her bubble, she's gonna bubble and then W almost immediately.
Yep.
Her burst is spent. All she can do is auto, and if
Right.
you can disrupt the ADC, whose autos are gonna hit harder and still has their abilities, you may end up saving the fight.
Right.
Yeah, and then a good example is if they have a tank or someone that's engaged in your face, like okay, Leona jumped in on you, she blew her load, then just turn on the ADC, both of you on the ADC. Leona can't do anything else. Or if the Leona goes in super far on you and her AD carry is nowhere to be found, then you just focus on the Leona, kite back or kite forward if she's starting to run away and you think you can kill her without worrying about the ADC. Yeah, it's pretty much a who's a threat or what's the opportunity.
Right.
See, I'd
Which
say
is
like
tricky.
there's see, because these questions all lead to like rule of thumb answers, and the key to getting better at LOL is deciding when the rules of thumb apply and when they don't.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to be like, well, yeah, always go on the ADC. That may not be the right answer. Like
Just
a lot of the times, like if you're positioned way back and you're not able to do that, go on the support and let your ADC flash backwards and then do damage kiting backwards.
Yeah.
That's great. If
you
you're
can watch.
go on the ADC. It's one of those deals.
You can watch high elo bot lane VODs and focus on nothing but target selection for both teams. Just watch a challenger AD carry, challenger support. Just watch how they choose targets when they go all in, and don't focus on anything else. Don't focus as much on their positioning or anything else. Just try to learn one thing at a time. Watch who they attack and in what scenarios they do it, and you'll pick it up a lot faster if you just focus on that.
So I hate to plug these like every damn week, but the UNSW Law Society has a video on that. I'm gonna see if I can link it to you.
Yeah, put it in the Discord chat.
Yeah, I'll put it in the Discord
Bruno,
chat.
you are an AD carry main, you said?
A support main.
Support main.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any suggestions of good streamers to actually look at or YouTubers that like show their VODs?
Yeah, Hanjaro, Painless Death, Ioki is pretty good if you like Leona.
Geronimo, if you want to learn AD carry.
Yeah, why not? No, I mean there's a lot of good stuff in there. Man, it's hard to say. Like,
Any
So there's a
challenger
start.
player will be fine to watch.
yeah.
Yeah, especially if they're a support main. I think
Here's the thing. I would say stick away from professionals, and the reason I say that is because they don't comment. Like, I've not seen a professional player that does commentary while they play. It's all very good, but you've got to dissect it on your own. And 90% of the reason that you're there is not to have to do that.
Right.
yeah. Unless you feel like you have a good understanding, then you can kind of dissect it. But yeah, if you can find, I mean, even like those guys, they're also playing at a different level, and even their AD carries at a different understanding. So at least when you have a support player that's talking through why they're doing things and like saying that their AD carry did something smart or did something really stupid, like that's helpful because it's a little more relatable to us plebs, at least their gameplay. But cool. All right, yeah, I think Blake put that link in, but yeah, thanks for the questions, Bruno.
All right. Thanks for answering.
Discord's
You
a
just
little
asked to
weird.
kick him now.
No, this is what happens. Discord's kind of weird. So what you have to do is leave the podcasting room and then come back in, because if I
Okay.
mute you, then you'll be permanently muted, and that's annoying to unmute everyone.
Yeah, that's annoying for everybody.
Okay.
But all right, thanks, Renault.
All right. Thanks.
All right, Astros, you ready, buddy? I think you are next.
I think it's Astros, dude.
Astros.
Yeah,
We'll ask
like
him.
the
You're
baseball
probably right.
team. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello,
Hey, how's it going?
Astros.
It's Astros.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. It
Sam,
makes
how
a lot
about
more
the
sense.
Houston Astros?
Yeah.
Blake's
What's your
cheating 'cause
question?
he's talking. All right, the most important one is, when is the bedtime story podcast?
It is requested. I don't know. Like, if the patrons want me to do it, I'll do it. I'll read a bedtime story. I got a shit ton of them upstairs. That's not a problem.
Blake, you don't do anything else except just like press record while you put Max to bed. Simple.
I tell you what, patrons request it, I'll do it. I draw pictures for those sons of bitches. I might as well read them a story. That's
So
fine.
any of you patrons listening to this, there is a Patreon chat room for you guys specially. So put it in there, tag Blake in it, and then once someone actually mentions it, make sure everyone gives it a thumbs up or hearts or whatever, because Discord's cool like that. And then you can just bug him and tweet him and just blast him until he actually.
Oh, I'll
does it.
do it. That's all it's gonna take, and I'll do it. I don't go. I serve the people.
Astros.
But I
If-
feel like I've
Yeah.
already coached you already, so you've got enough out of me.
If the patrons actually want it, what would you like the story to be about? Is there a specific story or is there a topic?
Dude, whatever he wants to do, like a weekly bed.
A weekly.
Whoa.
Oh, well,
Wait,
all right.
wait,
He
there's,
wants me
like,
to read
kids'
like a
bedtime
novel, a
stories.
paragraph at a time. To go
No,
into the
that's
audiobook business.
Super long one.
I read a Wise Papa. I listened to a Wise Papa Smurf audiobook, and then Harry Potter lived in the cupboard like a dumbass. And then he came out. The jerseys are like, "Hey Harry, fuck you." I think that's a pretty good Wise.
Oh,
Papa
so you
Smurf.
want me to just ad lib the narration as well? Just do like super
Would you
short
not?
versions? Like, you got this
Would you not?
dipshit orphan over here, thinks he's cool, lives in a dust box under the stairs. His family fucking hates him. He gets this bullshit letter from a Nigerian prince telling him to go to magic school. He believes it because he's fucking stupid. Turns out, it's real. That's the first book.
And that's the first book of Harry Potter, performed by Blake Wise Papa Smurf Fields.
But
Thank
I
you.
figured that way I can avoid all the copyright infringement I'll be doing because it's parody. So there you go.
All right, this used to be a League of Legends podcast. So, Astros, what was your actual question?
All right, so in bot lane, how Zyra Rakan came out. It's like the duo champs that like work well together and have special interactions together.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Do you think it's possible for them to bring it to other lanes that has like a mid jungle or like a top jungle interaction? Just like more champion interaction between each other, or would it make it like too hard to, or just too hard to make it work?
I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think that necessarily means it's impossible, but I think they kind of been there, done that would be their mentality on it. That would be my guess. I doubt we'll see, because every once in a while we'll see these kind of duo releases, like Rengar and Kha'Zix were released very close to each other, and they have special, granted, on opposite teams, they have special interactions, but that's like, I guess, the closest thing that I can think of. But I doubt that we'll see that again, at least not for another like 2 or 3 years would be my guess. But that's not to say that it's not impossible. But what do you guys think?
I think it's much more likely that you'll find a champion that's completely unique because Riot likes pushing that.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be somebody who pairs with anybody real well. Think like Ivern, but more so. Like, okay, the MOBA that shall not be named of the Storm has a character that's basically like a symbiote on every other champion that's out there, and it kind of does its own thing, but it's a super huge pussy if it's on its own. And when played well, it's really devastating. When played poorly, it's worthless, right? I think League could have a champion like that. And I think that's probably as close as you're going to get.
All right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Riot likes to go back to the same thing all the.
Well, I think. Okay, so I think there's a thing where there's a limited amount of things that you can do, right? So you're gonna have copies. You're gonna run into things that are kind of reused, but they try to make it a little fancier, I think. But then at the same time, they're always trying to release something very unique when it comes to like, I think more so play style. It might not necessarily be always mechanics, but just how you play them or the feel of their kit or just like what they bring to a fight or a team, etc. I think that's where the uniqueness of their release comes from. So I think that like what Michael's saying is they're gonna stay away from it, but they might be able to find something sooner than that that might be different from like a duo. Maybe they just like have a special interaction with like ranged champions or people that build like a certain item, something a little like
All right, and let
different.
me ask you this though. They've already done a couple, like they're Zion Rakan are dating,
Mhm.
right? That's already done. So with them dating, what's the other?
They need
Are
to
they
add a
just
home
like
wrecker in the
platonic?
jungler. There you
What's
go.
it? Are they like platonic friends or like best bros? Is it a bromance? They just
Be
like,
like
hey,
siblings.
dude, high five.
Like
Maybe
if they brought Yone back, it's like, Yas killed Yone, they could have special interaction.
Well, like brothers, like twins. They could do ice climbers.
I'd prefer the aggressively frat bro gay couple. I think that'd be awesome.
Like
Oh, nice
tosses
gank, bro. It's a top
tosses
laner
them a
and a
beer.
jungler. Yeah, it's like, great gank, bro, and then they like slaps the other guy's ass. I think that'd be awesome.
That'd be all right.
I'd play that. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I'd play it.
I mean,
No, I'd like
maybe
it.
not so much that like champions that like have like they're like completely related, but just like champions having special interactions. Like when you think about it, Xayah W and Rakan E is like, and like the fact that they can back with each other's recall is like the
Okay.
only
I
thing that
doubt
really
they.
links them
No.
and makes them.
I want to go
together.
completely off topic for a second and say I'm proud of my wife. She just sent me a text that says Ben Affleck is not my Batman. So I
Affleck.
really want to, props to my wife there. I assume she's watching Justice League right now.
That's funny. All
The
right.
modern day Zion Rakan in real life, truly.
Did we answer your
Rakan went back to
question
law school.
to satisfaction?
I just wanted to throw in one more thing. They have
Oh,
been
yeah.
adding special interactions on like the voice line side of things for a long time. That's something they've been trending towards, and I personally think that's as far as it's going to go, unless they released two champions simultaneously again. I think that's about all that we're going to get. I doubt they change an existing champion to have a special interaction with the new release, if that makes any sense.
Well,
I
what
mean,
if
they
they
could do
just
a
made
double
the
rework or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Or
I don't
Guaranteed
know,
as a
man.
Ezreal,
rework or
there you
something.
go. Tarek Ezreal, there's your aggressive bromance right there.
I mean,
They
that's the
don't-
thing
they
though.
don't
Like
strike me as very aggressive.
Zyra Khan has been really hard to balance, though. Just throwing
Yeah.
that out there.
Well,
Like
I mean,
it's
I
hard
think
to
like all
balance
the
when they.
champions they've come out with have been hard to.
Yeah, balance is
What?
always an issue. You're right.
I mean, besides with Kasai, I don't think Kasai hasn't hit the super broken point yet. But like,
I disagree.
No, I think Kaisa's broken.
Yeah, a lot of
Maybe it's
high
just
elo
my
players
elo.
are talking about it.
I mean,
Blake
Yeah, I
knows
think
my
she's
elo. He's seen some of my 80 carries.
well, sure, but you can't just be like, I live in the land of garbage, so nothing is broken.
Everything is
Yeah.
No, no, no.
broken.
Well,
Everything
Come
is
from the land of
trash,
the
so
garbage
nothing
box.
is broken. Welcome to the land of the
I'm
hot-
feeding Kaisa. No, you
Uh,
know.
well, there's that, but like, I think like Zoe was a lot more toxic. Ornn,
Yeah,
Warren
but
was like-
both those champions are terrible. They shouldn't
Well, now-
exist. abominations.
Wait, why are they
No,
terrible?
I mean, terrible and like terrible, annoying to play against. Not terrible, bad champions, but just like they added bad mechanics to those champions that should have never been added, and they
No, I
are
would agree with that.
more
But
annoying than they
that's
should
the
be.
kind of thing that I'm talking about, though, is that they've really tried to home in on let's make them unique, something unique we've not
All that
seen.
it does is it fucking mini gamifies the game. Like it started with Bard, which let me just say, Bard is still one of my favorite modern champion releases. I guess
Yeah,
that was like 3 years ago, so modern, quote unquote. But
just for the
like,
record, you got like this kind of look from me, like squinted eyes, untrusting as to what you were about to say, and like tight bird-like lips when you started
Blake
bringing
is
up
very
Bard.
sensitive about Bird.
no, I
Like
here's the
sucking
thing.
a breath through my teeth. I'm like, what's this some bitch gonna say about
I
Bard?
love Bard's design, except for his passive because it's a goddamn mini game, and I hate all the mini games that they're
I like
throwing
his
into
passive.
champions. Like Zoe's got the you have to kill the minions mini game, and then Orin's got the craft your items in lane mini game, and it's like just gets to be really obnoxious after a point when
And Bard's got the
you have all these.
situational as fuck mini game.
Wait, is it a mini game or is it just like a different?
No, it's
mechanic?
an old inside joke from like 100 years ago.
I call them mini games, but
I think Michael's a little loose on his mini game term, in my opinion. But that's again
Mm.
just my opinion.
I think we can all agree though that Gal Gadot is a wonderful Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Cha cha.
I'd let her
Really?
put the lasso of truth. Or I'm not going to finish that. Let's move on to something else. Let's just move on.
All right, you're good, Astros, with that.
I want to see him do something with Callista and Thresh.
Who's the thresh?
That would be cool, actually. Well, they're
'Cause, like-
already super good together.
I
What
know,
more?
but like, I mean, they're good together, but Callista's not like great in meta right now.
They're good together, but they weren't made for each other.
I mean, I think you can find good synergies between champions, and doesn't necessarily have to be something that's like a built-in mechanic where they get a special buff where other champions don't. Because then, like, I think someone, I don't remember who mentioned it before, but just talking about the balancing issues with that, I think it could cause an unnecessary balance issue where they just don't need to do that, and they could still, like, I guess, make fun lore or like vocal interactions or just these small mechanical interactions that like
Okay.
a lot of champions have.
I got
think
it.
it allows more.
How about this? If Callista uses her Black Spear on a champion that is already dead or from the Shadow Isles, it's instantaneous. That's a little lore bump, and it's not going to make a huge gameplay difference.
I'm just like talking about like I feel like I mean in some ways it's harder to balance, but I think it's a way to bring champions that aren't in the meta as a viable like option for play that gives them like a special niche of something that they can do like paired well with something. So you're not seeing like the same 3-4 champions.
Well, okay,
like,
but then you see the same pair, and then if one of them gets banned, the other one isn't viable, and that's
well,
the
then you're
problem
wasting
you run into.
but then you're wasting a ban on a champion that's like special niche.
Well, it's like let's look at Zyra Khan. Rakan by himself is pretty bad right now. Although when they buffed his AP ratios, I'm sure that's just the change
Oh, yeah.
he needed to come back into the meta.
I am curious. We still haven't gone back to look at the win rate changes.
That's true,
Like,
that's true.
I played
it's-
AP Rakan
But anyways,
mid, and he does a shit ton of damage.
I'm gonna doubt that and say that
I'm serious.
I think you do more damage if you played any other mid laner. But my point is that like if you ban Xayah in the current meta, Rakan is never going to be picked. They're only picked as a pair, or Xayah is picked individually.
And we're talking about
So
like
if
high
you ban
elo
one of
or
them-
competitive, right?
Right. Well, I mean, if you
Sure.
ban Xayah, you banned Rakan.
Exactly. And
So
competitive
you
or high
get-
elo.
2 bans for 1.
Yeah.
And that's the danger of tying 2 champions that closely together. Like I said, I can see them doing like a symbiote champion that you attach to somebody and you really buff whatever it is they're going to do, right? Like to an nth degree or something. I could see that where you have like presence in multiple places. but like I don't see them doing another duo. And I don't think the duo is necessarily something that's like great for the game either.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I'm not like, oh, good, Zyra Khan is a duo. It's like, oh, crap, that went through. You know,
Yeah,
so
but would
I
you
don't know,
rather
like.
them?
Like, there's tons of champions that have synergy together, like Callista Blitz, Callista Thresh, Janna, anyone. Like, all those.
Janna in League of Legends.
Yeah, Janna and League of Legends.
Conversely, Janna and not playing League of Legends.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, and, like, there's a lot of like synergies that work out just fine. I don't think the bot lane is like not ripe for that. You know what I mean? Like,
Or
I don't
anywhere
know.
on the map. Like
Yeah, or anywhere on the map,
Who was
honestly,
Ornn
but-
really good with recently? Was picked. Why am I blanking on this? Well, anyway, whatever.
But I mean, but see, here's the thing though. Like, you don't have to have a special pair to have that.
no, that's
You
what I
know,
mean.
because like
Synergy.
you look at like Zillion is really good with Skarner and Udyr. Anybody that's gonna run at people like Volibear, you know, anybody that moves quick and needs to move quick, he makes them better at that.
Yeah, you're just missing the official label that this was made to
Yeah.
be perfect for each other.
Yeah, just because Zillion and Volibear aren't making out, it doesn't mean like they can't work.
No,
real
they
well.
hate each other, dude. That's
Are
in
they
the lore.
enemies?
Yeah, they're enemies
Are they?
actually.
Really?
Zillion hates armored bears. This is
That's an oddly specific racial hatred.
yeah.
Like,
Well, exactly. It is
regular
like- it is-
bears are fine. Regular armor is fine, but armored bears go back to
Zillion
Yosemite.
believes that
Like
there's only
pineapple
so
on
many
pizza.
rights for bears. They can't own property. They can't wear clothes. That's a line.
You want to put a bear in a shirt? Go back to Canada.
Go back to Yellowstone, bitch.
I mean, Canada beat the USA in that LCS.
Oh yeah, the Civil War thing.
No, we don't talk about that.
I blame the pigeon. The pigeon was actually a spy from Canada because it was a
Yeah, it was
Vancouver
6v4,
pigeon. so-
dude. It was rigged.
Just saying, it was rigged right from the, and then he rage quit. Like that's just, it was rigged from the start. But all right, thanks Astros so much for coming on to ask those questions. I thought that was some good discussion. And like before, you just have to jump in or jump out, and then you can jump back in.
Yeah. All right, who's next?
I believe Emil is next. If
Emil
I'm not
is
mistaken.
next. You ready, Emil?
Just say the word. Get it? Because he's
There we
muted.
go.
He said,
Yeah.
"Yep." All right.
Hello.
Yo,
Yes.
what's up, guys?
Hey, what's
Welcome.
happening, dude?
Everyone
Oh,
else.
no.
Everyone that doesn't know Emil Richter, aka Sam, or Sam, aka Emil Richter, the other Sam, he is the awesome editor that makes the crappy audio that we produce sound bearable or really, really good. He's the one that makes you want the bedtime story with Blake.
Hey, just a heads up. I was told my S's are whistling now for no reason. And now
Probably
that I've
from
said that,
I've recently changed programs because something is not working on my other computer. And I used to always have a de-esser on it, and I didn't know if you say it's a problem, I'll throw a de-esser on this episode here even.
okay.
We can
Well,
get
I
Get rid of that whistling.
see. Watch. I'm just gonna pronounce the letter S.
Whoa.
It's really bad.
Okay. Anyway, Emil, what's your question, buddy?
Well, real quick before I get to my question, a funny thought I had is I told you actually, me and my buddy started a podcast, not League of Legends related at all, but I noticed that over the years of listening to you guys, I feel like Blake's style of completely derailing things and going off track has caught on to me, and I've taken on that role in our first episode of our podcast here. So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but
No, I like it. I like it how you describe me as having a style and not just being an asshole. So
It's
I
a stylish
evolved.
asshole we have here at the LOLA podcast.
I think it's a crucial part. It's what separates the LOLA podcast from all the other league podcasts out there.
When you
The-
ruin conversation for 184 episodes, it becomes a style at that point. That's excellent. Yeah.
I even just derailed my own question here. So you've trained me unintentionally. But
All right, I'll expect like a 20-minute question. Okay, here we go.
well, actually, it's probably like the simplest question ever because I'm a support and AD carry main, but I've been trying to learn how to play mid, specifically Cassiopeia. Not that the champion exactly matters, but one thing she knows she's very mana dependent, and I've never really realized when you should go and take a blue buff, or like if certain junglers you should, because I'm in silver elo too, so I feel like a lot like I don't I guess I don't know the ins and outs of when the mid laner can take a blue buff and how you go about doing that. It might be a dumb question, but
No, that's a
No.
great question for Michael
I-
to answer.
Okay, so here's the thing about mid laners and blue buffs. First blue buff, mine as a jungler. Second blue buff, mine as a jungler. Third blue buff, if you're 2-0 or greater, and I'm not 4-0 or greater, I'll probably give it to you if you're a champion that's mana hungry, like Anivia. But basically, the whole point of the blue buff, because it's a team buff, and that's what people use when mid laners want to bitch. They're like, it's not a jungler's buff, it's a team buff. And that's exactly correct, but it doesn't work for their argument because there are times that I, as a jungler, are going to do more with the blue buff than you, as the mid laner, are.
Yeah.
If you've already got
True.
Catalyst tier by the time the third blue buff is spawning,
Why do you need
No,
a blue buff?
mine.
Oh,
I
it drives me
divorced-
nuts.
and it's just who is going to utilize it more effectively. Shut up, Pretendity. It's just whoever's going to utilize it more and who's going to have a greater impact on the game.
So specifically for like a Cassiopeia though, like unless I'm super fed, like you just said, chances are by the time I would be able to take a blue buff, I probably already have my mana items anyway. So
Right.
because I've defaulted to not. I almost never take the blue buff but I'm a bot lane, like I'm a support main really, and otherwise I'm an AD carry, so I really don't ever mess around with blue buffs. So
There are so many goddamn support mains on the server. What the hell?
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, it's like if you have a Catalyst tier at that point, if you're going the double mana build,
yeah,
it's probably better to just give the third, fourth, and maybe the fifth buff to your jungler. After the
Okay.
30-minute mark, I think that blue buff should pretty much go to the mid laner because by that point in the game, every jungler's mana pool is to the point where it'll pretty much never be depleted. So it's not really doing anything on the jungler, and it should go to the mid laner. But the other thing is that if you're 0-7 by the time we're getting to that fourth or fifth blue buff, I'm not going to give it to you, even as Lee Sin, because I don't want the enemy mid laner to have blue buff. So if you're feeding, you don't get blue buff either.
And that makes perfect sense. But like you bring up like so say you're not feeding though, and like so if your jungler's like a Lee Sin or like Master Yi, he doesn't have mana, right? Like we see a lot of Master Yi in silver. Oh, he does.
Master Yi
Okay,
actually does have mana problems.
never mind that. Never mind that. Yeah, for some reason I thought.
It's because he uses a sword.
Oh, what is
You know, little known tip. Master Yi actually has 2 swords attached to his shoes.
That's why
No, he
runs
does.
so fast.
Like, look at the splash art. He has
will have to look at
daggers
that.
on his shoes,
Just like everyone also has pizza feet, right?
and he never kicks anybody,
Oh,
so he doesn't
Effective.
even use them.
That'd be
It's
an awesome crit animation. Instead of his sword coming over like this, he just kicks you in the shin for his crit animation. I'd love that.
But no, actually, I do actually want to add to that answer. Mana Flow Band in its new state will be huge to alleviate some of those problems because after you stack it, and with Cassiopeia, you shouldn't take long to stack that.
okay.
Then you get like 1% of your max mana every 5 seconds from Mana Flow Band.
What's the there's another rune there that like when you level up you can use mana without
Presence of Mind.
Yeah, Presence of Mind. That's
I
been
believe
something
they changed
popular
it this
too.
patch as well.
Did they change it?
Yes, they did. I can't remember what to, but
Oh, now I gotta look that up.
I don't know if you still get it. I don't know if you still get the mana on level ups or if it's only on takedowns now. They changed something about it.
What?
No,
Yep. So on Cassiopeia, I've always taken that blue rune. That's like basically the old Storm Raider Surge. It gives you the movement speed when you deal.
S1 should.
Should I be still taking that?
Yes, Phase Rush is definitely the best on Cassio. Keep taking
Phase
it.
Rush. Okay, cool. So I've been doing that. So I'm not. I play like I'm still like I almost hit gold last year, and I'm like silver. Well, right now I'm silver 3. I've been not doing the best in rank. That's why I kind of moved over to Cassiopeia mid here. But I was up at silver 1 at one point. But I play Cassiopeia mid at probably like a bronze something level. So
All you gotta
Cassiopeia
do-
is hard.
If you're hearing panting on my mic, it's because you turned me on. It has nothing to do with this dog in my lap.
For our audio listeners. Yep, there you go. All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Who's a good girl? It's
Then
Emil
you guys
Richter.
do a great job. You mentioned pizza. I want to throw out. I love that pizza delivery silver skin. I'm a pizza driver myself. That's what me and my friends podcast is all about, is pizza delivery. So we've been talking about that for months. Like, they have to make a pizza delivery skin, and Silver was one of the
You
ones.
should get sponsored by DiGiorno.
Yeah, that would be. We want to try and get sponsors for our podcast. If we get enough followers, be like, hey, because we've been we gave out a gift card to Domino's our first episode. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome. That's good.
That's kind of going to be our hook here. We're going to bring them in with pizza.
What's the podcast called? I'll let you pimp it out here.
Yeah, Inside the Box, a pizza podcast.
I love that.
That's a good name.
We're going to be he set up a really cool layout for it too. We do it live on Twitch, and we're going to be interviewing just different delivery drivers we know. We're going to eventually reach out to people across the country too, and just get a bunch of there's a whole subreddit devoted to delivery drivers telling crazy stories. So that's kind of what it is.
Oh, that actually sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it does.
All right, cool. All right.
Cool. Well,
thanks for coming on to the podcast, and thank you for all your hard work in making this.
Yeah,
podcast
dude,
awesome.
you're the best.
I do it because you guys have. I listened to you guys' show before I even edited, so it's a lot of fun.
All right, thanks, Emil. Cool. And just like everyone else, just pop out and then pop back in.
Cool. All right, thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Bye.
Angel is up next, but I don't know if he is or she is aware. So maybe there it is. You ready?
I'm typing.
I am, bruh. I am. All right. Unmute.
I'm Brew, bruh.
Hello.
What up, Brew Bros?
Hey,
what up?
What up?
What do you want to talk about today?
Oh, man, I am ready. I got to type down everything.
Ooh, okay.
I know. Fancy. Okay. I wrote down, let's see here, questions about basic rotations. I play a lot of cheesy snowball champions and having a lot of success with Pantheon in conjunction with Leadcraft. I can get an early lead, and I know that getting a major KDA lead can have a lot of shot calling power in my elo, Silver. It's just I really have nothing to contribute as far as rotations go. You know, like I'm not like, hey, you should do this, and I feel like I can do that.
I don't think I understand your question. So
okay.
You're playing a snowball champion, and you are having
from the jungle, right?
Rotations.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, excuse me. I'm playing it from mid and top lane, and I have questions about basic rotations and like how to shot call them and when.
Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna jump in here. You should watch the Donghwap video, DONGHUAP for anyone who doesn't know.
While he's doing that, I'll find and link you the video.
He did a video about Keegan, who's the best Pantheon in NA, multi-account challenger. Okay, good. You already watched Keegan? Good. Keep watching him. You should watch Donghwap's video, though, because it condenses a lot of the information that explains why Keegan is so good into an easily digestible format. It's only like a 10 or 20-minute video.
Yeah, it's like 11 minutes, and it's called Why This Pantheon Hit Challenger 3 Times. Is that the video you're talking about?
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about.
And it is
you should watch that.
Discord. There you go, Bob.
And so I play Tryndamere top, kind of similarly early game cheese, not nearly as much as Pantheon, but if you're not having difficulty snowballing your lane, what you really need to be doing is focusing on what the next objective that's coming up is and being on the opposite side of the map. So say that there's a fire dragon up and you're maybe 10, 15 minutes into the game. You want to be top lane for sure, pushing that in as much as you can safely. and drawing some attention up there. Because if you're strong enough to kill your lane opponent 1v1 no problem, and they have to send 2 people to kill you, then that puts your team in a favorable advantage to take out the dragon. Same thing where if there's no dragon, but the Rift Herald is up, and you're still strong enough to 1v1 easily and possibly 2v1, you want to be bot side. You generally, as a rule of thumb, because you have an ultimate that lets you join the fights quickly, you generally want to be on the opposite side of whatever the next objective is.
Yeah, so you
That's just
basically
kind of a
spread out the
general
map.
rule.
You give the rest of your team an advantage in taking an objective because you're putting pressure on the other side of the map and bring the enemy team has to use more resources to deal with you.
Yeah.
That being said, I think that is the correct advice. Now, when we talk about low elo, and what I love seeing is that split pushing Jax that's like yelling at, that's like 5-0 and yelling at the rest of the team because they're not playing correctly. It like drives me nuts when like he's pushed the second turret and he's upset that we're not fighting when we just all at base, we backed because of a fight and we weren't at dragon or something. Because when you're
Hey, we got
split
pressure
pushing,
for him, bro.
what was that?
We got pressure for him, bro.
Yeah, you have to be aware of what you're doing at the same time, and it's really difficult when you're playing a champion that way, playing it especially when you're playing it like quote unquote correctly, when your team doesn't know how to play with that. So another piece of advice is, and we talked about this earlier answering a question, like as long as you're doing the wrong thing but everyone on your team is kind of doing the wrong thing together, that can work out a lot better than doing the right thing but everyone not on the same page. So in low elo, everyone always wants to fight, and it's always easy to like tell everyone to just like go. I
Sure.
would make sure that you're not too far away from fights so you can join, because your team is gonna get picked out. Your team are gonna find stupid fights because they see like, oh, we're 12-3, and don't realize that you're 10 of your team's kills, and you're gonna run into these issues where like you're strong but your team's not like using you. So you have to have that in the back of your mind as you like make these correct macro decisions and rotations, that your team might not know how to play with that, and you just have to be ready to like pivot and play suboptimally. But because of that, as long as you're with your team and fighting with your fed like damage, you can still like carry a game that way as well. So
Okay.
it's a weird asterisk that sucks when like
Yeah.
if you think you know the game pretty well.
Oh,
And
no,
as
I
far-
get what you're saying. You got to go with the flow sometimes.
Yeah.
And another thing is watch Keegan's VODs. He puts them on YouTube, and they're probably on his Twitch channel as well. And every 3 minutes, pause the video and say, what would I do in this scenario? Or like
Ooh.
right after you get the kill, ask yourself, okay, so I just killed my lane opponent. How do I manage the wave here? Do I recall? Do I stay? What items do I buy? Ask yourself, like literally pause the video and ask yourself those questions, and then hit resume after you've come up with at least something in your head. You don't have to write it down or anything, but just come up with like a vague idea in your head of what you think the right play is, and then see how it compares to what Keegan actually does in the game. And you'll start to develop a flow of understanding for how he plays the game, and he plays the game correctly, which doesn't always work, but the thing is, if you play the game correctly, you will climb elo. There will be
eventually.
specific scenarios where playing correctly does not work, but you will get better so much faster by playing the game correctly that it can offset those shortcomings and disadvantages that happen every few games or so because somebody messes up and doesn't know how to play correctly with you. But yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Dope.
Another thing I don't think we answered of yours, Angel, yet is
Sure.
so you're talking about you don't know what the right decisions are to make, like in rotations or just macro or focusing which objectives.
Yes. And specifically, like what comes to mind is when bot tower falls. That's when the ADC and support they typically go to the top. But if I'm playing mid or top and I can like break my own tower, it's like, am I supposed to call a rotation at this point, maybe, or you know?
Something that you can catch them out a lot, especially at low elo, because the top lane is less likely to be warded when they first show up than the bottom lane. So if you're playing top or mid, you have easy access to that, and you can just roam up, ping your jungler as soon as they show up, and Sona goes to ward the river bush. You're both waiting there. You jump on her. She's dead. And then you've completely ruined their rotation. Bot lane can stay in bot lane if they want and take down their tier 1 because you've drawn pressure topside and killed one of their laners. And then you can just go back to doing whatever it is you want to do. That's just a very specific example. But so many times playing Tryndamere, I've gotten kills because I just communicate to my jungler, come sit in this bush. Their squishy support's going to come ward it. Sure enough, 5 seconds later, they come to ward it because they want to push safely, and they're not expecting you to already be there. And then, that killing their support or AD carry in that scenario completely fucks their rotation entirely. And it takes you like 25 to 30 seconds to do it, and it just messes up their momentum entirely. And then you can take down your turrets or do whatever you want to do. Especially as Pantheon, you can just ult behind them too. You don't even have to wait in the bush.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's not a good idea, my Elo. I mean, that's a good idea, but zoning, oof, nah, it's risky, really risky.
Yeah.
Do you actually see a lot of like the duo rotating top in your games?
Once in a while I will see it, and then I'm following these Leaguecraft videos, and at the level I'm at, I'm really focusing on a lot of my lane potential, and then whenever somebody says it, it's like, wow, I really should have been thinking about that. And then whenever that epiphany comes, I'm like, why am I not doing that type of deal?
Yeah. I would say one thing that it always seems to happen in every game, gold and below, is ARAM. Every game, everybody goes mid at some point in every game. And if you understand how to create pressure and use the minions as your 6th member of your team, then it's not a problem. Like, you can win objectives by forcing that. Yeah, by forcing a huge wave to push and then just joining your team for the ARAM.
It feels, yeah.
And understanding how waves push and that's what Blake is talking about, having a 6th member of your team is the pushing wave. Understanding when a wave is going to push and when to just leave a wave alone actually makes a huge difference, because do you take Ignite top lane by any chance?
I always take Ignite, whatever champion.
Okay, good. You should be. You should be. So say that you're playing Ignite Pantheon, and you are keeping the wave even in the early levels, and you push it just slightly so that you can get the level 2 advantage. So you've just hit level 2. They're in range for you to kill them. You jump on them, you get the first blood. A huge mistake that a lot of people make, and I used to make this before I really sat down and studied wave management, is you would try desperately to push the wave into their turret. They get the teleport off because their death timer is very low early game, and then you end up just setting a freeze against yourself.
I know
what
exactly
you can actually do is you kill them and then immediately you base, unless you're full HP for some reason. But say that you're like 30% HP, you kill them and then you base immediately. What's going to happen is they're going to teleport to the lane, and because you didn't touch the minions, they are going to slow push it in towards you, because they're going to start with a minion imbalance in your favor. You're going to have more minions than them, but because they're last hitting and pushing and being realistic and low elo, they're probably just going to auto push it in. That shit happens up until Diamond 3, Diamond 2 even. Like, I still see it in my games. People mess this shit up all the time. And that's in like high diamond bracket. But you just base immediately, come back and walk up to lane, and then they are going to set a slow push into your turret. You catch the wave as soon as it crashes. You'll hopefully still get the cannon minion. And if you don't get the cannon minion, it'll soak enough hits for you to be able, by the time the 3rd wave comes in, it'll have soaked enough hits that you'll get almost all the EXP and most of the gold. And then you'll be in a really good spot, compared to if you had tried desperately to push it in, you would have lost a lot more minions. Even though it seems counterintuitive to recall right after getting a kill and not take any of the minions, but it makes a huge difference. And that's something that I've personally noticed playing an Ignite top laner versus most people taking teleport. You have to manage that early game extremely well to be effective.
Oh yeah, you got to get that first blood, man, if you're doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing that I want to discuss is the way that I learned a lot of my macro, because I think it's a lot harder to learn macro than like learning how to play a champion, because I think there's just so many guides about that. But when it comes to macro decisions, because there's so many things that just happen, they're one-off situations, and it's hard to get like a good rule of thumb for so many different situations. One thing that I do is I just watch a lot of LCS and listen to the analyst desk. And even better, after I found Last Shadow was like doing VOD reviews of actual professional games, listening to those kind of VODs and analysis actually helps a lot because these are people that are usually very smart about the game and they are seeing what mistakes these teams are making, why they make these mistakes, why they should have done X, Y, and Z, and they actually talk it out and what was the correct decision. And then they're like, oh, because Dragon's up, because this is the level advantage, because these jungle camps are up, and they really break it down almost to too much information. But that I think that's a really good way to start understanding how and why people have advantages, and then how to like focus certain objectives because of all those things. So then as you watch these different VODs, you start to learn in different situations, find similarities in your situations, or being able to like start critically think about your unique situation because you've like learned so much about it. So that's another thing that I would look for. Creators that
Watch the shit
really
I just
focus on
linked also.
the Nacy videos.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Nice, The Art of Split Push, Part 1 and 2. Watch both of them.
DC,
Yeah.
R.I.P.
I think he's just Nice
Fortnite.
now, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, RIP, dude. Feels bad, man. But those are still, the information in those is still totally relevant, and it'll help you a lot playing.
Oh, yeah. I'm really excited to see
playing
this
Pantheon.
guy's breakdown of Keegan, because I love watching Keegan's video, but he's at such a level, and although he'll say it with good spirits, he'll be like, oh, this Diamond 2 trash, like, of course I beat him, but, like, that's not enough information for me to know exactly how he read the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
He'll
it's
say
a
it with
very good
attitude, I
video.
love the guy.
So you should watch all three of those, and you'll learn a lot. And yeah. Did I answer your question to a satisfactory degree?
Got a bunch of bullet points here. Yes, you did, boys. Thank you very much.
Cool.
All
Awesome.
right,
Thanks
all
for being on,
right.
man.
All right, thanks, Angel.
Catch you.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to
just-
join and
Yeah,
leave
you
and
have to-
rejoin.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got an idea, by the way. Instead of reading a story, right, like a bedtime story, what I could do instead is my wife decided that she was going to give birth by hypnosis once, and I had to read her the hypnosis script, and I got really good at it. I might read you guys relaxing birthing hypnosis if I can find that.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Low Spice, you there? We're gonna unmute you now. Hello.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
Not much, just practicing inputs on Street Fighter.
Oh, fancy. All right. So, what's your question? What do you want to talk about?
Actually, instead of doing that, I think Blake needs to get more creative and talk about the very unfortunate life of Manny for his
okay.
stories.
All right. So
That's what I think.
Most people don't know this. You haven't seen Manny in a while, and that's because of the damage to the nuclear power plant that he was working at. You see, Manny was a fellow that used to change out the rods in the water, and one day a practical joke was played on him by a well-meaning janitor, but it turned tragic when he slipped into a pool and fell into the radioactive water. They thought maybe they could do something by flushing the water into the ocean to disperse some of the radioactivity, but that didn't work, you see. And what ended up happening is that Manny was dumped into a small harbor area
Oh no.
where he was found by some Korean fishermen. And instead of teaching him how to fish, they taught him how to play League of Legends at a silver level because they're
Ouch.
fishermen and they don't know how to play League. And then from there, he came to America, where that translated into gold level play, and he was picked up by a podcast because we thought he sounded Korean vaguely.
Sounds good.
And
What about his
Yeah.
fluting career?
oh, that got put on hold. He's got
Oh.
radioactive monkey hands.
What happened to the toy and the lead paint?
Oh, that's old hat. This is
Fake news. Fake news.
this is origin story version 2. I Bruce Bannered that fucker. He's
Sweet.
good now. So
Now
now
he can
whenever
be like,
Manny gets mad, he speaks in Korean and fishes.
True story. It happens every now and then on the
So-
Eye of the Watchers podcast.
so he's Manny, radioactive Aquaman.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Instead of a trident, he uses a graphite fishing pole because they're cheaper and available at your local Walmart.
And they whip.
Yep. You can do some damage with that if you catch somebody right. with the
Oh
hook.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
how do you guys feel about the LCS and like how I predicted, 100 Thieves would be in first place and look where they're at?
Did you predict 100 Thieves to be first place?
I did. I don't know if I did it on the podcast, but I definitely
I
definitely
did. The week after they won the LCS.
actually I've been rooting them up on Facebook like the entire time. I'm just happy to have like a good team in Ohio that's not the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay, I'll tell you this. If I am also a 100 Thieves fan, I decided that they would be my team before the season started, and
That's
that's
true.
been kind of
He
cool.
has the flair and everything.
That being
It
said,
checks out.
thinking 100 Thieves is going to finish first place in the regular season, I think is a really audacious claim when you look at the rosters and just comparing them to 100 Thieves with players that really haven't played with each other, and you have like super dream team rosters on other like 4 other teams. I think that's
Like
a crazy claim.
TSM Oh.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I loved Medios back in the day, and like I had to give it up for him in the move, man. I had
Dude,
faith
he did
in him.
awesome this split. I was really impressed by him, and he's actually like, I thought he was like I thought he was a really smart jungler, and then I thought he got really dumb. But then I started watching 100 Thieves games more, and I was like doing these analysis videos a few weeks, and like he was tracking the enemy jungler or like mirroring them or out rotating them really really well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm like, oh, Medios is back to his glory days. So no, I think 100 Thieves are great, and now like looking at them, I think they're a good team. I think they play better than their names or talent suggest. But that being
Yeah.
said, I still would not have thought to ever put 100 Thieves higher than maybe 4th or 3rd comparing to like Team Liquid or TSM's roster or maybe not Echo Foxes, but yeah.
I'm
maybe
really
those-
disappointed with TSM, but they kind of deserve it after what they did to Double Lift and the rest of their roster.
I don't know if it's about deserving. It's a competitive environment, and I mean, players drop teams faster than teams drop players sometimes too. So, and I don't think maybe it could have been
Well,
dealt with
it's like
better.
we dropped them for the Kings of the West or whatever, like the duo bot lane, and then like they did very poorly this season.
Sven and Mithy are the best players the West has
Well,
ever
okay,
produced.
hold
They're
up,
so
though.
good.
Hold up, though. Double Lift himself did say, I don't like playing against Venom Mithy because they really don't make very many mistakes at all, and their lane pressure is super high.
Mhm.
That speaks well of them. That being said, were they truly effective this season? Well, clearly no, TSM is out of the running, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're bad so much as the team has an identity crisis.
I think there's maybe too many different personalities on the team. I think that's what a lot of the issues were, like
think
with the
there's-
talent.
I think there's too many different carries on the team.
Yeah,
Like, not everybody can be the carry. And it seems like they've got one, well, somebody who's designed to be the carry in like every role.
well,
I
traditionally,
don't think that works.
Yeah, traditionally TSM has always played around mid lane. Like if you go all the way back to Reginald, like that's how they always played around. They always played around Reggie, and then they have God, I'm having a brain fart.
The thing is that every single meta can be mid-focused pretty much because mid lane control is so important in not any given specific meta, but like the meta of League of Legends, like top lane tank, jungle fighter, like just the meta of like there being a top lane jungle mid and 2 bot lane, like that meta at that base of a level. There's no meta where playing around mid lane is bad because of how much it opens up the map. So that's why TSM, you can't play around bot lane in every meta the same way that you can play around mid lane in every meta, especially when you have as good of a mid laner as Bjergsen.
Bjerg is
Yeah.
really good, but I feel like right now this meta is very bot lane dominant. Like I think that's where a lot of the wins have been coming from for a lot of these teams.
I agree with you, but my point is that getting mid lane ahead gets every lane ahead because having mid lane priority means that you can do stuff like 4-man bot lane and stuff like that. Maybe it's not 100% the most effective strategy, but it is a strategy that can work. Whereas like focusing top lane in this meta is probably not going to do much for you.
Yeah, I've
at
been seeing
all.
a lot of people like at least in solo queue because I've been watching some like people who are like Tryndamere one tricks, and they've been like laughing in like their chat basically because they're saying, yeah, just keep fucking ganking me around this meta. Like top lane doesn't matter. My jungler's just gonna camp bot lane while you camp me top lane, and we're gonna win the game. And that's what's been happening.
I mean, solo queue is a bit different too, with just communications and teamwork. I think solo queue meta versus LCS meta. Solo queue meta gets inspiration from LCS, but it's like a watered down, like inbred version or representation of what the LCS is or competitive play is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool.
I was really excited for the
I think, Sam, that's Arkin's solo queue.
I was really excited for the Team Liquid game with the 100 Thieves, but I don't know how that's going to turn out now with everything that's going on in Double Lift's life. I don't know what they're going to do about
Double playing.
him personally. Is he?
Yep.
Yeah, he's playing.
I think that's actually scary. I think he's gonna come. Like you don't know what's gonna happen, obviously, and it's totally sucks. But I think Double Lift's gonna come back like just absolutely terrifying, unless like the lack of practice was strong enough to hurt them. Because
I think he's gonna come back and Isaiah Thomas the shit out of this thing.
Yeah, I'm scared. As a 100 Thieves fan, I'm absolutely scared of Double Lift right now.
Well, there's two ways that could go. Is either he channels that in a positive way, or he can't get over it and he's not able to focus for the match.
Sure, and that's the thing. We don't know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Double Lift had issues with his family previously. I heard that they patched it up last year, which is really cool to hear that happened before.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So that's awesome to hear that actually finally happened because I didn't know about that before this tragic incident of his parents being injured and dead.
He had a Twitter post that said like, "I finally forgave my mom for everything that happened. I guess it's true what they say, family is family." Mm-hmm. Or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, that was a couple of years ago, like 2017 or something, or 2015.
Assuming how he's gonna react is really, really just hard to do and probably very wrong to do because you just don't know how he's gonna react, and it's not he's been in this situation before. No.
yeah. I mean, like psychological trauma. Like these guys, LCS players are the most susceptible. I'm going to air quote athletes. I would say like gamers,
competitors.
Right? Or competitors, but I don't necessarily athletes. I think, I don't know. Like I'm on the fence.
Anyway,
but either way, these guys are super susceptible to mental state issues. Like they have not shown a mental fortitude that like professional sports players have. Like they slump and they slump hard. And they tilt hard, and it can be anything of condition, team morale, win streaks, lose streaks, like Reddit,
anything.
Like social media hits them hard. Like these guys have not really shown that as a group, right? On the other hand, Double Lift has been pretty insulated to that. Like he's trash talked, it's backfired, and he's still come back firing because like. And he's also got like veteran status with that shit. So if there is one of that crowd that has the tools,
it would definitely be him.
It would be him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like your brother murdered your mom and stabbed your dad. Does any human being truly have the tools to process that in a week?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't. That's rough. Like. There is nothing that I can't even imagine that scenario of how you would feel. You know what I mean? Like, and the most fucked up thing aside from like the facts of it is that this whole shit came out on April Fool's Day.
Yeah, like I sent that to a lot of friends, and I also posted it to your guys' board, and some of my friends were like, "Is this an April Fool's joke?" I'm like, "If this is an April
I
Fool's
like
joke by
this is
ESPN, it's a really fucked
yeah,
up
this is
joke."
the most dark and macabre April Fool's joke ever.
That's just
I,
straight
we,
up
Yeah.
just.
me and
But
Blake
it's not.
were actually hanging out when it came out, and both of us were like, "Yeah, this is an April Fool's." Within like a couple minutes, we were like, "Yeah, no, they're not making this up." I had people that were actually arguing with me about it, and they're like, "No, it's an April Fool's joke," and I'm like, "It really isn't. It's really not."
Yeah, like the
You're
LA
incorrect,
Times
my
does
friend.
not report April Fool's jokes on like
That's
random,
fact.
on like
Yeah.
random murders.
And I don't think ESPN would put something out like that would be that dark
No.
either,
Yeah,
because that's
that'd-
where I
that'd
got
be
the
a
article
huge-
from.
That'd be so
Yeah.
bad if they're like, "Huh, we just made this
I re-
random joke."
There
No.
was a-
I saw it on the LA Times, and I knew it was real. Then I saw it on the ESPN, and that confirmed it was real. And then I watched a local newscast talk about how like his brother had recently broke up with his girlfriend. His parents went over to console, and then all hell broke loose. And then I was like, wow, it's real, and I could kind of see how that could happen if things went really horrifically bad in an emotionally charged situation.
Yeah, that's pretty awful. There was an April Fool's joke that got me. They said Kobe was coming out of retirement to play with LeBron James on the Cavaliers, and I was like, "What the fuck? That would be awesome." And then I realized today is Easter, but it is also April Fool.
Yeah, that threw everyone off. Thanks.
This is like it's Easter. It threw me off. I'm like, it is also the first. I'm like, shit.
This hasn't happened since like 1950 something. It's been
Actually,
a
it
long
was
time.
longer than that.
Oh,
I think
really?
it's been over 100 years. I think since
thought
that's
it was
happened.
Oh,
years.
like the next one they said it's supposed to happen in
In
like
20
13
years.
or
Yeah,
18
not
years
that
or
much.
something. It's like
Oh.
not going to be that long till it
Like, the
happens
previous
again.
one was a while ago.
Yeah,
Cool.
it was before any of us were born, except for maybe Blake, because he's pretty old.
Yeah.
That's all right, Blake.
Aren't you
You're
guys
only
like the same
No.
age, Sam and Blake?
No, we're like
Wow.
5 years apart, I think, or 4 years.
Well, close enough.
Blake. You're like 33, right?
I'm 34.
You're 34.
I'm
You're
about
like-
to be 35.
yeah, I'm about to be 30. You're not much older than me.
Yep, I'm like a fine, extra sharp cheddar.
Nothing wrong with that.
Extra
Just-
dull cheddar.
No,
No.
Dumbass.
I have one last question.
Long
what's up?
shelf life on that cheddar.
Well, actually, I have two questions.
Yeah.
First one, where the hell has Aiden been hiding out at?
I think under his
Bitch Island?
schoolwork.
Bitch Island, is that what you just said?
Yeah.
I mean, I know he
That's,
does.
Direct. That's a direct answer. Yeah.
I know he has the other podcast, but I've been off work the last month because I had surgery, so I haven't been really listening to many podcasts because I do that while I'm at work. And
Feel free to add him in Discord and call him out. Just saying. Actually, he was gonna be here
go
for
for it.
the 2 weeks ago for the when we were gonna first do the listener call-in show, but then we called it off. So, but yeah, I think he's just been really busy. But
Yeah, he and I actually sat down to record that listener call episode, but it didn't happen. So he tried. I will give him credit to that. He like came in and then he had to get a connecting flight to Bitch Island.
yeah,
So he had to go real quick.
It's off
Okay.
the coast of Canada, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense, right?
poor
Smuggling
Canadians.
Sons of bitches.
did you have another question?
Teaser,
Mo?
Ashley.
I do, man. I've hit like a wall when it comes to like jungling, and it's been pissing me off so much. Like I don't know what to do anymore. Like I'm half tempted just to like not even play this game anymore. It's so
Cool.
tilting.
Switch to top lane Tryndamere, and you'll go from hard stuck D5 to Diamond 2 in the span of like 2 months.
I thought about just going back to top
Clinically
lane.
proven.
I did it.
thought
I
about
dropped 3 tiers. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I
thought about-
switched to top lane at the beginning of last season. That
No, I
worked
played
out real
Tryndamere
well.
specifically, and I lost like 2 divisions.
I learned how to play Aurelia, and they reworked her.
I
Yeah.
thought-
Hey, if you really want me to help you out, I'll definitely look over one of your VODs if you want to do that, and we can work out what you're fucking up. Try to fix it.
I know what I'm fucking up. I'm playing Lee Sin.
Okay, first of all, what the fuck? Stop playing Lee Sin.
No.
Play something. Play Sejuani. You'll just win every game. Can't
I'm
lose on
undefeated.
Sejuani.
I have not gotten a win on Sejuani after 6 games. This split. It's been
Well,
incredible.
you suck, Sam.
I know.
Results are
I
not
don't know
typical.
what it is with her, but I'm like, I cannot get
Well,
a
no.
Results not typical.
Dude, I like there for a while. I had like a 10-game losing streak after getting like 2 promotions. Just 10-game losing streak. Didn't play a single game of Lee Sin. I was playing like I played Zach. I had a game where I went 7-0 and 23, and we still lost the game. And just like I feel like people are just fucking stupid, man. Like not to be
Have you-
mean about
Have
it,
you
but
heard the 30-40-30 rule? Do you know what that is?
I think
the
Blake
30,
said
40,
something
30 rule?
about it.
Yeah,
Paul said
it's
something about
basically
this.
you auto win 30% of your games, you auto lose 30% of your games, and the 40% in the middle is the shit that you can actually affect. And if you're going 7-0 and 23 and losing, probably one of the 30% that you can't do anything about.
And those are, by
It's
the way,
also
the most tilting fucking games in the world. And they
sometimes.
will cause the middle 40 to be losses because you're in a
Exactly.
bad fucking mindset. And then it, like, your 30% guaranteed loss becomes like a 50% guaranteed loss or more because you are losing games that you could win because your mindset sucks because you feel like everybody around you is a paint sniffing asshole,
That's how it was for like 10,
radioactive Korean fisherman.
And
for
the
10,
other-
10 to 15 games straight. That's what it was. And I wasn't playing Lee Sin because like if I'm not in the right mindset, like if I'm in a good mood, like I'll play a game of him. But like if I'm not feeling it, like I will play like Sejuani or Warwick or Zach or someone who's not, simple. It's just, dude, it's getting to the point where I'm like, I was so close to gold and then I dropped like three tiers and I'm just like, what?
Well, I mean, I'll just tell you this. If you're looking to turn on a light bulb, you don't put it in your teeth and jam batteries up your ass.
That sounds kinky, Blake. We
I'm
should
just
do
saying
that.
that's not something you end up doing. It's not going to
That's
be a
how Blake
recipe for
untilts from
success.
games.
That may help you untilt because you're focusing on something else entirely. It's like in what's that comedy with the baseball and he makes the guy wear panties? Bull Durham. It's like Bull Durham. You just got to wear some panties, and then you won't focus too much on what you're doing.
Here's actual information that makes sense to other human beings.
That makes perfect sense if you've watched Bull Durham, but I assume that nobody here under 35 has.
I've seen it so many times, Blake.
Have you
Top
really?
5.
No, Blake, I've never seen that movie or heard of it. You old
Okay.
piece of shit. Anyways, but that 30% of auto losses is not evenly distributed. So that 30%, as everyone knows with statistics, the wider your sample sizes, the more accurate they are. If you take 10 games out of any given player's account, they could theoretically all be in that 30% that are auto losses or in that 30% that are auto wins, or they could all be games that were in the middle. You really have to play 100, 200, 300 games before you're seeing that specific distribution come out more. And the other fact of it is that doesn't mean that you'll get 70% win rate if you start playing well. There's going to be times when other people will have more of an impact than you. And some of those games in the middle 40%, the middle 40% is not games that are dead even. It's just games that your individual impact could be the tipping point for winning. And that could be either way. You could feed your ass off and cause your team to lose. And those are the most tilting games in my book, the games that everyone else on your team is doing well except you, and then you lose because of your own performance. Those are the games that get me on tilt more than anything. But
like I have games like that, and I'm mad at myself. But the ones I get more mad about are like when I'm doing bad and my teams just carry me, and I win. And I'm like, I did not deserve to win. Like,
no. You
No, you
learn
take
to
those.
take free wins.
Because when you get that disconnected bot lane on your game, you just remember that win, that free win that you got.
So here's what happened to me yesterday. I was playing with my boy Uncle Jamal, who's going to be a guest next week, possibly. Oh, fucking Jamal. But anyways, I was playing with him, and we were just getting fucked by our teammates. Like, he was playing jungle, and I was playing top lane. and I played like 8 games with him, and I won lane 7 times, and we only won like 3 or 4 of those games after I won lane 7 out of 8 times. And then the enemy team had an 80 carry Katarina who rage quit after getting 10 CS by the 7-minute mark. And then we won. And then the next game after that, he played Renekton mid. I played Tryndamere top. He killed Twisted Fate at level 2. I killed Cyan at level 3. He killed Twisted Fate at level 4. I double killed their top and jungler at level 6. And then the game was over at that point. And their team was awful. They had a bad team comp, and it was a free win. So those free wins balance out the auto losses, and you should never be tilted by a free win. Always accept free wins. We fucking take those every day. Same amount of LP, same amount of MMR. Shit doesn't matter. Free wins are good, no matter what.
One other thing I want to say, and you guys might disagree with me on this one. I'm not sure, but I don't think anyone should. I think you cannot put any excuse on you losing 6 ranked games in a row besides it's your fault. Like somewhere in there you screwed up, whether it's not untilting or not stepping away and like playing ARAMs or just like turning off the game, or like you're really not realizing something that you're doing wrong in your games. Because like, yeah, those 30% auto losses could be in those like 6, 5, 4 games in a row, but that's really, like, statistically that's hard to actually happen without, like, if we're being real with ourselves, like you did not, there's no way that you didn't make a mistake in that game that would have affected the outcome. It's possible, but it's really unlikely. And seeing someone with like a 10-game losing streak, there's something like you need to like play normal games for 3 games and untilt and start winning again and then jumping into that. Because I've hit those games where I've seen my whole match history all red through losses. I haven't had that happen since like season 3, after I like decided whenever I'm doing ranked and whenever I'm taking it seriously, I stop playing after X amount of losses, because like I'm tilted whether I realize it or not. So, and ever since then, I haven't had that issue where I have like more than 3 rank losses in a row. I think it always like gets some type of win here and there. Yeah, without a huge losing streak. A huge losing streak to me is 3 losses.
Okay. Last season, I ended like Diamond. I lost 13 games in a row with Exiles. 13 games in a row.
I mean, obviously,
we won,
Exiles, right?
Yeah, clearly. Then I started playing well, and we won 16 games in a row immediately after that. Right? I will say morale was low.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it happens, and then finally we just sat down and we said, okay, what the fuck are we doing? Let's turn this shit around and go from there, right? But I mean, you take free wins, dude. That's free low. It's free. You take it. You're like the kind of guy who visits Jerusalem and doesn't want to see the Sexateria.
The what?
You don't watch Futurama, do you?
I have. I do watch Futurama. I've seen every episode except maybe the last 3 or so. But
yeah, next year in Jerusalem, buddy.
all right. Did we answer your question adequately?
You guys just kind of went on a rant.
Yeah, we kind of did. do we need to go back?
Welcome to LOLA Podcast.
I don't remember what your question is, to be honest.
Honestly, I think I just started ranting and I never got to a question, but I mean, I'm pretty sure there's somebody else who needs questions answered.
Yeah.
If I have, I'll just I'll take Michael up on his offer.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
For sure, dude. We'll get it done.
All right.
We'll get
All
you
right,
the
man.
gold.
Thanks for stopping by, Low Spice.
All right, later, man.
All right, see ya. We have one more question, and it's someone wrote in, and then we will end it on that because it's getting a bit long. It is by Cog in the Machine. It's important. Anyway, do you believe we will see more charity drives from Riot in the future? And what charities do you think would benefit most from spotlights from Riot? So this is a bit of a weird question, more about Riot.
We would benefit from that. We are a not-for-profit organization. Help us.
No, I don't think
We have not made a profit in 3 years. We need your help.
I think we're just bad entrepreneurs at that point.
Fuck, I'll
No,
just
that's
take
not true at all.
I'll just take a statue of LOLA Podcast and throw it in the ocean if somebody will only pay attention to me.
Okay, usually I don't censor people, but I wouldn't be opposed to just nixing everything that Blake just said right there, because that is not our like that is not what our Patreon's for. Um, but okay, all jokes aside though, Ryan has done some charity drives before. I just don't think they're just not really super public. I guess I've seen them on LCS broadcasts. Like they've done charity drives for I think maybe like a hurricane or a tornado or something. I'm not really sure. They've done
did it.
stuff.
They did a stream where like we all had to vote for which charity it got donated to. I heard that was like 4 seasons ago.
So
It's
here's
been
the
a
charity
while.
event of my dreams. The Riot Games charity event of my dreams. Okay,
Hmm.
they get together the best that bronze has to offer, and then they call in Trick2G and someone else to shoutcast it, and they stream it on the Riot Games LCS Twitch channel, either before LCS or after it or something, and then they somehow monetize that for charity. I'd watch the shit out of
Captain
Serious.
Flowers did that already.
What
He's shoutcasted like 5 bronze games.
But they didn't. Did they
Well,
do it
there
for
we
charity?
go.
Or they just did it, right?
No, he just did it.
Yeah, see, to do it like for charity in some capacity,
Mhm.
Yeah.
make it an
Well,
event.
like, I think okay, so my answer would be like I think what you should do is look at like underappreciated content creators and just, a handful of money would be good. Particularly lawyers, because we need money. It's like vitamins for us. We don't get by very long without it.
but this is just any lawyer, right?
So
Yeah, particularly small town attorneys that maybe started their own firm and could use a little bump.
and whose town name perhaps even shared part of the name of a League of Legends champion?
I don't know,
Like
man.
Cassiopeia, maybe?
I'm not out to point them in a direction, Southwest Missouri. But like, if they were to say throw a dart on a map and hit the middle of the United States and just pick a local content creator, that'd be all right.
He has
so
the best shit-eating grin right now for all the audio listeners. I just want to.
Hey, by the way, just
as
as an update on the last guy's question, I did find a hypnobirthing script that I can read if you want to use that.
this episode's going long, and I want to answer this question with an actual answer. One, I think Riot does do a lot of charity drives, and they do a lot of stuff for the community that we just don't know about, as just like a more of a corporation rather than like a LOL esports like blasted in your face. That being said, I'm sure they do some stuff. I don't think a lot of us see it all the time, especially when like if you're not watching the LCS as much or not paying attention to the website and whatever else they're putting out on Twitter. That being said, I guess it'd be cool to do stuff like kind of in their lane, like get kids in like impoverished school systems and get them like a LAN tournament, or like get them PCs so they can compete in like high school League of Legends tournaments, or stuff like
That's
that.
actually a way better answer than I gave. I definitely agree on
You know,
what Sam is saying. On a
like
serious note.
realistically, serious note. So local content creator here in Cassville. No, this really is on a serious note. Give it a second. I'll get there. It really is. We had a local nerd store open up, which is amazing because I actually like really support anything that gives, in particular, nerd kids an opportunity to like get out and share the things that they like to do in an environment where other people share the same interests. So you're not going to get like taunted or something if you like to paint miniatures or if you like to play League or D&D
or put light bulbs and batteries in
Warhammer.
orifices of your bodies.
Right. Somebody's got to turn that light on, and potatoes are boring. You know. So anyway, I support that kind of a potato lamp. You put the potato and then you
I
run wires and.
Yes, we got it.
Sure.
Go.
Okay.
Keep
Do they not
going.
do that science experiment anymore? Are we past that in science? Is
I've
that not
never done
amazing
that, but I know
for
what
you
you're
guys
talking about.
anymore?
Keep going.
That fucking no attention span on these damn kids these days. Don't even. Oh, sweet, it's potato. It's like a light bulb. Fucking give me an iPad.
Mr. Tangent, let's keep going.
Anyway, so I think what they should do is figure out a way to empower those kind of like local centers, right? Like that would be a really cool niche thing that appeals to their fan base. And those places are always dying for money anyway, right? Like you don't make money hand over fist doing like gaming tournaments. You know what I mean? Like you make some, but you always see these places, and except the biggest of the big ones in like large cities, always fall through. And Riot tried to do kind of a thing like that, and I will call it a charity because they gave out a ton of RP rewards for free, right? And they're not making any money off that. And they did it with Microsoft Store to like
I went to
create.
some of those tournaments actually.
Yeah,
And
I-
I fucking won.
yeah. I just wish they would like open it to like smaller localized places so that they can like use that to generate clientele and stuff. I think that would be really cool.
I mean, I would love if Riot partnered, actually spinning off the content creator stuff, if they're partnering with creators on their charity runs. For example, the shirt that I'm wearing, actually by chance, is the King to Claude shirt that I think Lola, we bought shirts for that. And
Yeah,
to
we did.
support
I've got
DeClaude
mine upstairs. Yeah.
with his was it MS? I don't remember what it was, but was it MS?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Trinity Force did their little drive to bring awareness, and they raised some money. It would be really cool if like Riot worked with content creators in their charity drives or things that they're passionate about raising money for. So I think that would be a good thing where Riot shows that they care about their community and also are giving back.
Well,
at the
to
same
be
time.
fair, Riot did bring DeClaude to
Oh,
Riot.
that's right. They did do that.
They did do that.
All right,
they
never
flew him
mind.
out there.
Then continue doing those kind of things, and maybe
Yeah,
they are,
dude,
and I'm just not aware. I wouldn't be surprised if
reach
they
out,
were.
reach out to like 35-year-old podcasters with male pattern baldness. I have a cause. I have a cause we get attached to. It's a
Or closeted Tryndamere mains from Texas. Just like very specific demographics.
yeah. We could reach out to the never nudes out there. There are dozens of them. Arrested
I
Development.
know that's an
Come
Arrested
on,
Development.
it's
Yeah,
an Arrested Development joke.
I
Okay,
know.
fuck it.
Well,
All right.
I mean,
Doesn't even-
sometimes your jokes
by the
aren't
way-
funny, Blake. That's just it.
No, it's a reference. It's not even a. Okay. Anyway,
Oh, the
That
winter
being said-
solstice.
hey, fuck. I can't argue that was a bad joke before. Anyway, so I will say this though. I went ahead and authorized Nerdvana, which is the Cassville store that they have like a little LAN and tabletop gaming stuff. Yeah, I told them they are the official coaching venue for League of Legends physical coaching in person. So if they ever bring us in there, I'll go over there and coach people.
Blake's gonna
They
do a
show up.
workshop on key
Video
bindings.
conference. I'll show them how it's
Yeah.
done.
I'm gonna get them like a sign or something to put up with the podcast
QW.
logo.
Okay, now QWE.
Yeah.
Okay, good job, guys. Now QWR. I want 10 reps of those. Okay, go.
And then 5 push-ups. Why? Because you'll feel better about yourself after this is all over.
And then
you
now
didn't
my
get
wife is
any
coming
elo.
in to do insanity. There you go.
That is not the same crowd. I'll just throw that out there. It's not the same crowd.
All right, so this episode has gone long. Thank you so much for everyone that stopped by and stuck around to listen to this podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We will be doing these. I want to do these monthly, but we'll see. I mean, it's been kind of hard to get people to
It
show
took us
interest?
almost a month since the last one we announced that we were going to do it.
So maybe every 2 months or maybe once a quarter might be good. But if you guys show interest on this, I mean, maybe you don't even have to wait for a month. Maybe you can be like, hey, Sam, can I just come on and ask a quick question? Maybe be like, okay, that's fine. So let us know what you guys think about this. If you enjoyed it, make sure you keep your eyes and ears peeled for announcements for the next one, whether it's on the podcast, whether it's on our Facebook groups or Twitter and all that good stuff on social media. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it, unless you guys have anything else to say.
Well, I do have this hypnobirthing script that maybe helps somebody out.
All right, that is episode 184 of the League of Legends Anonymous podcast. We will see you guys next week.
Good night, everybody!
Woo!
All
You need to
right.
work on that. You got your outro. Yeesh.
Mine?
Woo! What are you gonna tilt a world?
I don't know what I'm like contributing, but it felt like I had to contribute something.
You
Yeah.
did
You're like,
all right.
good
You
night,
did all right.
everybody. I'm so fucking cool. And then
Hey.
I'm just like,
Yeah, that's me.
Everyone
That's
in,
accurate
in
portrayal.
Discord and Twitch, thank you for stopping by. For some reason, I can't shout out the Twitch chat. I can see it now. Ashley, Electrical Skateboard, Low Spice, Samaya, and then all you guys that are also in the Discord, thank you so much for stopping by, and especially those guys that are, oh, well, I mean, yeah, sure, you could, I'll unmute you. Sure, why not? What up,
That was
Astro?
good. Well, never mind. What's up?
What up, dude?
What
Sure.
what is going on here?
What do you
I'm
mean?
I'm about to read a hypnobirthing script for
dear
everybody that
God,
wants to
No.
stick
please tell me
around.
before you start so I can leave.
No, we're not. If you guys are down, though, we should play a LOLA game, like with LOLA people, because I want to, as in like LOLA podcasters, so we could, team bonding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all podcasters here, so I agree.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, and Sam, did Blake mention to you that I got a who wants to be on the show?
No, he did not. Maybe he
Okay.
did. Maybe I didn't realize it, but
No, I didn't.
that's
I
fine.
didn't.
That's cool.
I think he was down for next week if we don't have anything specific planned for next week.
Who is it?
It's Uncle Jamal. Do you know him?
I do not know.
He plays like Renekton and full AP Nunu jungle.
Holy
I've been
moly!
playing with him.
Spice.
I've been playing with him in solo queue a lot, and I was like, "Hey, we have this podcast. You want to come on it?" And he's like, "Sure." I'm trying to build my streaming brand and all that shit. So I was like, "Yeah, that sounds good. I'll talk to him about it." But
So
Yeah.
like,
Wait,
yeah.
you said Renekton, right?
yeah, he plays Renekton. I mean, he plays it in top, mid, and jungle, but he's like known for playing Renekton jungle because he's like the only one that did it at high elo. And
All right.
Yeah.
We should try to get, I guess, you, Worm, and him on, because I don't want to add more people onto the. 4 gets a little messy, especially with guests.
yeah, I agree.
So yeah,
was
I'm okay
thinking
with
this
that.
way.
I guess Worm can take care of like the stream stuff if he's able to. If not, then maybe I could fill in. Or, I mean, you're not unfamiliar with streaming either, but yeah,
Sweet. I
We
get
don't-
to
we
take
totally
a
do.
break.
Yeah.
You guys talk about Renekton.
Blake
then.
Blake and I can just play duo queue while you guys record and lose some elo together.
Yeah,
Actually,
that sounds
we can't play
good.
together. We can't play together.
No, I got a Smurf
I'm
account.
so stuck
I
right
got-
now.
I
I'm
got a Smurf
so
account.
sad.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right. I got a Smurf account.
I'm so.
I'm turning off my Skype, by the way.
Yeah, I just turned
Okay.
it off. Yeah, I'm really hard stuck. I just keep like. I'm just playing like a bonobo. It's really. It's
Well, you,
really sad.
you want me to give you some words of advice to help you?
Nope.
Because I think what you should start off doing is get into a comfortable position, either sitting or lying
I'm so
down.
uncomfortable right now.
Feel free to shift positions or move at any time if it makes you feel more comfortable. Focus to move to your breathing. Let yourself breathe easily.
Okay, I don't like
and
that how
comfortably.
comforting this actually is.
Take a few slow, deep
All
breaths
right, Twitch chat.
as you inhale.